What's up everybody and welcome back to another episode of Fallout 4 Mods Weekly. This is a series where I highlight some of the best releases as far as mods go for Fallout 4 over the past week or so. Sometimes I go a little bit out of that range, sometimes I go a little bit within. But regardless, it really is just meant to be kind of a weekly recap and highlights so you as a mod downloader can just kind of see the best things that did come out and download which ones you like. I also do want to mention I'm a little bit sick while recording this, so if it impacts the video, I do apologize. Kicking things off, we do have the Cyberlight hand cannon. This was supposed to be released with the Cyberlight apartments by the same mod author Bloodmeat08. This did come out a few weeks ago. It's a really interesting player home, but what this is going to be is two things. One, a standard pistol. In addition, there also is a little hand cannon launcher type thing with this. The pistol, I think, is definitely the weaker side of the two. Both of these do use the same exact animations, and I definitely think those animations do fit the launcher a little bit better. The pistol is just kind of a standard 44 pistol, using the same sound effects and as well firing the same type of ammo. On the flip side, the hand cannon actually fires 20mm rounds. This of course is an explosive ammo. You do have a few different options here. You could have normal explosive ones as well as plasma or incendiary explosive rounds. This gun is really pretty. The visuals are definitely one of the best aspects of this, and I think especially the launcher version is really just a great little compact launcher that's extremely satisfying to use and very visually pleasing. So we do have the right-handed hunting rifle animations by War Daddy. These are going to be first and third person animations for the hunting rifle that are a pretty big overhaul. Obviously right off the bat, these are going to be right-handed, which is much more natural, it's much more intuitive. It's how people actually use rifles in real life, although some do have ones where they're ambidextrous and you could switch what side the bolt pulls on. But even further, I think just the standard reload looks really freaking good. It's a little bit exaggerated, you kind of throw the magazine away, and all around I really like it. One of the things I love, and I've talked about this in the past, about things like this that add new animations for vanilla weapons or retexture vanilla weapons, is it breathes new life into those guns. The standard hunting rifle is largely pretty basic and boring, but now with these new fresh animations, it'll probably get you to use it a little bit more and all around just get a bit more of enjoyment out of those guns. At the same time, you probably have overlooked it for some of the modded content, and maybe it's been a little while since you've actually been using this gun. All around, these animations are really top notch, and I personally found them to be very pleasurable to use. So we have a pretty interesting one. This is going to be called the Dynamic Performance Tuner. More or less what this is going to do is detect your frame rate and try and get you to 60 FPS as much as possible. It's going to change the shadows, draw distance, as well as the God rays in the game dynamically. So as your FPS goes down, maybe you're going to a city, it'll actually reduce the quality levels of those aspects of the game so you can kind of have a bit of a better performance. I noticed this definitely did impact the game in a positive way. As you can see in the background, I did just have some of the vanilla gameplay on, but then I switched to the modded one and just pay attention to the FPS counter. You definitely know a difference if you were paying attention with the vanilla one, that it definitely goes up a bit here. One of the things I experienced is it's all around a bit smoother. Even though it doesn't always get me to 60 FPS, I'm also using some pretty intense stuff back there. Obviously I am in Boston, which has its own deficits, but in addition I'm using regrowth overhaul, which always takes a pretty big hit on your FPS. But even further, this might be because of my monitor. I am using a G-Sync monitor, but I definitely noticed it was a little bit smoother overall. I mean, it really doesn't hurt to try this out, and I definitely think it could be helpful to some of those especially lower end systems. Then we have the environmental armor. I showed you guys a bit of this a few days ago in upcoming mods. This is actually going to be part of Beyond Boulder Dome. That was a mod for Fallout New Vegas, kind of taking one of the quests or locations in the game and expanding upon it, that being Boulder Dome. This is one of the armors that did appear in that mod, and it has been reimagined or recreated for Fallout 4. It's a really cool armor. It's meant to be similar to a hazmat suit. This was actually an armor that appeared in one of the earlier Fallouts, but back then it was top down, so it definitely didn't look like this. My big complaint right now with this is, although it's a really satisfying armor to use, there's not anything in the way of modification. You can't even change like it to be pocketed or anything like that. It is exactly as you see it. There's one option where you could take the pads off, but that's just a totally separate armor piece. I'd really love to see that expanded in the future, but otherwise I think the armor looks pretty cool. It definitely has a different aesthetic, but at the same time it is meant to be kind of similar to a hazmat suit, and this is more of an armored hazmat suit. For that reason, I think it is a lot more practical to appear in Fallout 4, a post-apocalyptic game, but one where you're also getting shot down by enemies all the time. They do mention how they're going to be updating this in the future with an armored variant of this, or one of the heavier ones, which I'm excited to see and I definitely will be covering. So this one's just kind of funny. It's called Ted's Power Armor. It is more or less a giant teddy bear power armor. The mod author here actually mentions how this is part of a larger mod that's coming in the future. I'm excited to see what that's going to be all about. But of course, again, this is going to be a teddy bear power armor with a big rocket on the back for the jetpack. I really just thought it was so outlandish and funny, and honestly pretty well done. Like, it looks pretty decent, all things considered. Definitely of Creation Club quality. I imagine some of you guys will find this funny like me and download it. Maybe you could put it on a companion. That would actually be pretty awesome. I think Dance would be a great candidate for this one, but again, just something silly that I think some of you guys will enjoy. Then we do have AKs and ARs. What this mod is going to do is implement a bunch of new weapons into Fallout 4. That being the AKM, the AKMS, the AK-74, the AKS-74, and finally the XM16E1. These are all very work in progress. I think the best part about a lot of these guns is the visuals. They look pretty good. Even further, they do feature custom sounds and a number of them custom animations. These are a little bit more wonky. The animations are decent, but they're not really as smooth as you'd expect from some of the higher quality weapon mods, and the sounds definitely leave a little bit to be desired. As far as modification, there's a few things you could do like bakelite mags, and really it's mostly around the magazine. Some of them do have a suppressor, but largely a lot of these weapons are going to be very similar. A lot of different AK variants with different stocks or minor modifications that are kind of with the weapon itself, and you can't actually modify the weapon any further. But I did want to cover it because there is definitely, again, quality here. These guns visually are extremely good, and honestly giving this to a companion or some other NPC would be and I think in that capacity these things would really shine. Then we do have the Metro. This is going to be a pretty small mod, basically adding in some Metro tunnels under the Commonwealth. Under here you're going to find a bunch of things, ranging from a ton of different traps to actually a small settlement that does have a mini quest you can do. It's a really cool mod. I don't want to spoil too much. I just wanted to kind of give it a shout out. There's some other similar mods for Fallout 4, but this one is directly inspired from the Metro series, and it's something you could do while playing with all your cool new guns. So last but not least, just a quick one. The Glock 17-18 did get ported over to Xbox One. It's a really great Glock mod. The Glock 17 being a semi-automatic Glock, the Glock 18 being fully automatic. It's a ton of fun to use as a secondary, a sidearm. It has some really cool modifications and things like that. But I did cover it last week, and at the sake of not being redundant, I'll be pretty brief. But we're just going to wrap it up. Again, I'm really sick, so some of these were a bit shorter. As always, I thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys all next time. Later.